Hello everyone, this is Joanna the Medium. Thank you so much for visiting my channel, and for those of you who are regulars, welcome back. I hope you like these messages. I will keep the intro very brief. These are, as you know, your September messages. A lot of it was channeled at the very beginning. Interesting energies, to say the least. I think I've said this before, we're all going through transformations and a lot of it is coming up. There's a lot of educational information I feel in these messages. So even if you're one sign and you're drawn to another sign that you don't relate normally, you might want to listen and see if there is something for you there, because I feel like they kind of sprinkled tips all over the place that could be useful by anyone, regardless of which category they feel into, because these are life situations that Spirit talked about. Also, for additional information as far as longer term messages, I will put those links down for you below. They are on Vimeo. There is the 6-month projection from July until the end of this year, December 2018. Also, the 7-year Uranus videos are also there, and that's a 7-year projection, so it'll give you the big picture of what things will be like over the next several years. But the 6-month is much more potent, because it's only focused on the next 6 months or so. Of course, if you would like a private session with me, that information is down below. Thank you so much once again for liking, sharing, and subscribing. I always say, without you, I wouldn't do this. And what I do is something that I absolutely love. And I remind myself every single day how lucky I am to be able to do this and love what I do, because it isn't often that everybody gets to do that, right? So that just, I'm supposed to say, that just affirms that when you believe in what you do, things eventually happen. I think that message was for somebody. So I think that's all I have. Thank you again. Of course, if you would like to comment, information is comment down below how this applies to you, and listen to your other signs, for one of them may not mean much to you, but always listen to it at the end of the month or next month, because you guys always tell me that at the beginning it makes no sense, and then you come back and you go, oh my God, I can't believe it. So I wish you best of luck. I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care of yourself, and let's get going. Hello, beautiful Aries. These are going to be your messages for the month of September 2018. I will tune in first, and let's see what channeled messages we have for you for the month of September. Before I go with that, I wanted to say that the number that was represented for you was the number 8. So 8 to me is the number of strength. You actually have that card coming up. What I feel is that in the month of September, there will be an opportunity for you to relax a little bit more. That won't come without its surprises, if you will, and we'll talk about what that might be for you, some changes. But there is an opportunity for you to regain your long lost strength. And for some of you, there is a feeling of giving up. So this is for those of you who have in the past given up. You have given up an idea that you want to accomplish something, and it's just like you don't think you can. You have given up, hopefully not on life, but there's a sense of deflation here. So for those of you who have felt slightly deflated, particularly over the last, I want to say 2 to 3 months, we have been going through a lot of planetary changes, so we were all affected. But if you have been feeling strikingly odd at times, it is because you are being returned to yourself, and I'll go into depth into what that means once I get the message out. So number 8, very important. It is also the number of stability. It is also asking me to say, despite of what is going on in your life, particularly for those of you who are going through changes, you have the strength to accomplish whatever it is that you are on the road to doing. And for some of you, you just need to write this out. And I believe I talked in the August messages, that August may feel a little bit bumpy not for just for you, for everybody. And I have since come to realize that that is in fact has been the case. I have been experiencing that too. So if you have been feeling slightly off, slightly perturbed, or even if anger is coming up and I'm sensing that in my throat, this is because there's something internally happening with you, for you, according to what Spirit is saying, that will ultimately put you on the right path, whatever the right path is for you. I also saw Hangman, which to me shows that there is at least a tendency to feel stuck, to feel like you have no choices, to feel like things are just not going your way, and generally just feeling quite irritated. So looks like month of September is going to offer you some opportunities to maybe look at things a little bit different, and that's also being shown in the cards, but also to help you establish some new goals and put forth some new patterns that will help you achieve those goals. For some of you, this is going to be health related, as in combating a certain condition. You will adopt a new way of thinking and believing, which obviously will help stress, but more mundane health component would be watching what you eat, and I see you putting things away and looking at labels. So for some of you, you will be adopting a brand new diet. You're looking at labels. So obviously not for this is going to be for some of you at least. Healthy patterns, and I'm hearing and I'm seeing mind connected. Some of you need to underline, develop some sort of meditative technique, whatever meditation is for you. And people often get hung up on the word meditation, and a lot of the time, especially when I talk to my clients, it makes them freeze. That's because we overcomplicate things. So I'm going to give you a suggestion on how you might approach the idea of meditation. So if you are new to meditation, or if you've tried different things and none of them make sense, and you can't sit still, and it's just the word irritates you, you might want to try something like this. Find 5 minutes or 10 minutes, preferably 10 minutes, somewhere. Lock yourself in the bathroom if you have to. Put some nice relaxing music on. Close your eyes and imagine yourself being in your favorite place. Now, whether it's a place you've been before or whether it's a place of your imagination, use your ability to create with your mind in order to create this vision in being somewhere absolutely amazing. And that is the only thing I want you to focus on for the entire 5 to 10 minutes. What you will notice if you're new to this is that your mind will try to wander, and that's okay. Your goal is to feel amazing in whatever that place represents to you. And then I want you to focus on the feeling. So practice that for 5 to 10 minutes, and then you'll notice that over time your thoughts will begin to be a little bit smoother as opposed to jagged. So this is not only important for the mind, but it's also important for the health, particularly those of you who are stressed out to the nines, and I'm seeing there's quite a few of you. Well, we all are, but so meditation, hugely important. Some of you need to adopt some practices with regards to stretching. I see you stretching on the floor. So any form of exercise that will allow you to take long pauses of taking a breath and stretching, very important. For some of you, you need some pelvic exercises. Okay, whatever that means to you. Clearly what they're driving at is adopting some practices that will help you keep your mind occupied, because you get distracted with other things. And if things have been going on, and if you do have things going on, then definitely you need some time for rest or some respite from the everyday busyness. Is there anything else I need to tell them? We are all at crossroads. Some of you will be at a crossroads. Some of you are thinking about choosing different things for yourself. So why am I seeing crossroads here? I just feel like many of you are dealing with crossroads. So that's the fork in the road. That's the changes. That's the decisions. Why am I seeing this? I'm supposed to say, tell them everything is going to be okay. So for those of you who are wondering, oh my God, what's coming next? Or you are going through some major life shift or life change, and you just don't know what to expect, I'm supposed to say everything is going to be okay. And obviously that's a very general message. But for those of you who are wondering about this, that is what I'm supposed to say. Again, I'm being reminded of the number 8. So I want you to think about the word strength. What does strength mean to you? I want you to imagine what strength feels like to you. You have the ability to feel this way at any given moment, but what you need to do is you need to allow your thoughts to guide you there. So again, an idea on meditation. Imagine what it would feel like to feel very strong, to feel supported, and let that be your meditation. I feel like the meditation is very grounding and solidifying. Don't let the word meditation throw you off. Because like I said, some of you will cringe. Some of you say, I don't know how to meditate. We overcomplicate things. Think of something that is positive, that brings you joy inside, and stay with that imagination in your mind for as long as you can while holding the amazing emotion, and then watch what happens. Okay, that will help you establish a very solid foundation. Now, the card that represents the overall energy, you've got the card of emptiness. So this is what your soul is experiencing. This is what you might be experiencing on a subconscious level, and it may explain some of the things you may have been feeling lately. In other words, what you are going through is a process of integration. And what does that really mean? Well, it means that we are shifting from being one way to being somebody in a different way. Help them understand. Okay. If you have been someone who constantly worries about the things that you don't have, chances are you are or will be facing a situation that will prove you correct. And sometimes in order to change fundamentally our thinking to something much more positive, we need to get to the point where we get irritated or we've had enough. So some of you might be going through emotions where you feel you have had enough of something, and that will be the springboard for you to begin something new for yourself. Again, thoughts are being amplified, but as far as I'm concerned, the entire world revolves around thoughts. Everything we create is based on our thinking. So there is an integration process happening within you. And when that happens, things will bubble up to the surface in order to help you understand what are some of the things that are keeping you stuck. So don't be surprised if the universe puts up a mirror to you and says to you, hey, look at what needs to be addressed at this point of your life. So that is the overall feeling that I'm getting as far as the energies that some of you are dealing with. You also have the card of the observer in protection position. When I see this message, it tells me that you need to find a way not to be too stuck on your ways. If you are in fact going through something, it is important for you to adopt a new way of thinking, perhaps a new way of believing by adapting different ways of how you look at things. And I'm being asked to give an example. If you always think of yourself as dumb, and that's just a basic example I'm being given just to illustrate the point. If you always think of yourself as dumb, you will probably always find yourself in situations where people either say that to you or they make you feel that way. You get the point. If you are fundamentally committed to feeling a certain way inside of you about you or the world, then you will inevitably bring that manifestation to you. So, if you are someone who is constantly trying to prove yourself to somebody, or you have this drive to constantly prove you need to have a higher position, you need to be better at this, you need to be better at that, maybe examine your belief pattern and the things you think about yourself currently that drive you to the desire to constantly need to prove yourself to somebody else. Now, when we are always in a mode of proving, we are always in the mode of believing we are not enough. And when we believe we are not enough, we will create more of the same. So the idea here is, notice some of your patterns and some of your behaviors, particularly in how you look at things. If you have a very rigid way of thinking that minimizes who you are, then you might want to take a chance on thinking something different about yourself going forward. Now, this would also explain this message of emptiness. In other words, and the reason why it says here emptiness, notice the colors are very predominantly earth bound colors. So it's orange and it's yellow. So it's your second chakra, which is trust, and it is your solar plexus, which is all about the will, which is your confidence. So it's showing me that many of you do not feel that way. You do not feel confident. You don't have trust in yourself, and that creates perhaps an empty feeling inside of you. But you need to examine where those beliefs come from so that you can choose and decide if they're worthwhile prolonging your pain. In other words, you have a choice in the way you feel, and the way you feel is based on what you believe. So your belief systems are being addressed here. Your ideas, your prescription for life, your parameters on how you view things. You might want to try and look at things from a different perspective. In other words, don't be so stuck up in your old ways. You have the Five of Swords. This is a card of defeat to me. So if you have in fact been feeling defeated, or if you feel defeat, or if you feel like you're just tired and like you're constantly fighting and you can't win, you might want to again examine what you believe about you to begin with. You have the Strength card, and this is about not only having strength, but also finding strength inside of you. So clearly, if we feel defeated, we don't feel strong. We don't feel strong because we don't believe we are for whatever reason. One of the things that's coming up is milk and honey in protection position. So what this is saying to me is that many of you are dealing with poverty-like thinking. What do I mean by this? What I mean by this is that you come from the place of lack. And I believe I've said this before. And this can apply to literally anybody. You don't have to be an Aries. You can be a Libra. If you have a belief that is based in lack, you will constantly create more not enoughness in your life. And that is stuckness to your belief. That would be the rigid vision of seeing things. I'm supposed to give you an example. Okay. If you have been brought up in a household where you have been minimized, you more likely than not have felt not very good about yourself. That would indicate to you at some point in your journey early on that you are somehow not enough. Persistent feeling of not enoughness gives you the idea that is what things are. In other words, it gives you the perception of yourself that becomes your permanent belief system. Now, we don't always think about this. It's not something that we logically think about. Clearly, we don't want to. It's not even something that's conscious for most of the time. But for those of you who are feeling defeated a lot, for those of you who feel like you need to prove yourself to others, for those of you who have been conditioned that you are not enough, you need to find new ways of relating to yourself. So this is again about adopting systems perhaps in your life that will help you make you feel good about you. One of the ways that was mentioned earlier was a process of simple meditation where you spend some time during the day and thinks about the things that make you feel good and inspired. And that is how belief system becomes your new way. In other words, if you do in fact feel less than, and I always say be very honest with yourself because chances are you do, many of us do, particularly because this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing this, and particularly because I saw hangman, which is stuckness. So if you in fact have this, and be very honest with yourself, nobody has to know this, but be honest with yourself, then ask yourself Give yourself the permission to end this struggle. I'm looking at Emperor in reverse, and this is telling me that this is someone who is not in control. Now, the Emperor, if you think of the Emperor, he's a king. He or she's a king. And they are in charge of their domain. But when I see it in reverse, it tells me that is not the case. So if you, in fact, feel like you are not in control, if you feel like you are not in control, or if you feel like life just kind of has you going in different directions, again, you need to examine your belief system. You have building blocks in reverse. This is all about looking at the cracks in your foundation that make you stuck. And above all, universe is trying to show you the way, so don't fight it. So for those of you who are going through changes, for those of you who are going through crossroads, the message was everything is going to be okay, but it does require you to go with the flow. And it's difficult to go with the flow when we feel we are not in control. Well, going in the flow implies control has to take a back seat. So I think that's how I want to say it, because I don't want to spin it any more. He's asking me to give you one more card. Okay, that's interesting. So I'm going to pull an animal card for you that you can potentially draw strength from, or what is the message that Spirit would like you to know. What is one important thing that is really important for you to know for the month of September about yourself? So number one, treat yourself fairly. If you have a tendency to compare yourself to others, ask yourself the question, why do I continually do this? Chances are you do this because, well, you've done it for a gazillion years, or you've done it for so long, it's a habit. But number two, ask yourself, how does it serve you? If it makes you feel good about yourself, great, but chances are it doesn't. So treat yourself fairly is coming up. Now, two cards came up. I love it. You have a tarantula. Some of you hate these cards, I know. And you have the horse. So tarantula is all about life purpose. Some of you are changing vocations, and your life is pushing you towards fulfilling your life's purpose. Whether it's a career or a hobby, makes no difference. You have the horse. Horse to me is all about freedom. I was saying earlier, you feel you are not in control. You feel that you are suspended. You feel like the hangman. That is not freedom. The energy of a horse is asking you to be free. How can you be free? By feeling the freedom inside of you. Now, some of you may say, well, I don't feel free inside. So the question you need to ask yourself, what is preventing you from feeling free inside? Is it because you're stuck to some old ideas about yourself? Is it because you continually put yourself in an internal prison by comparing yourself to others, or by thinking or believing you are less than? Is that what's preventing you from being free? Chances are that's the case. Chances are you come from, again, the idea of lack in your life, and you'd have to examine what that is for you and where it comes from. And he's asking me to end this. So abrupt end, but I feel like I got all of what I wanted to say. I hope this makes sense to you. Makes no sense to me other than the words. So if it does make sense, wonderful. If it doesn't, look at it towards the end of the month, perhaps even in October. I do wish you best of luck. Always remember to take care of yourself first. No, I do not mean to get rid of people in your life. I mean, take care of your emotional self first and foremost, because when you do, you are not only best for yourself, but you're also best for others. Satisfying others over and over again at the detriment of your own well-being doesn't work very well, and it doesn't work very long. And some of you probably know exactly what I mean by this. So do yourself a favor and examine your thinking. Allow yourself to be free with your thoughts, which will then allow you to experience that in your world as a manifestation. And above all, be true to yourself. And I think that's all I want to leave with you. Please comment if this makes sense to you. I always love to read them. And of course, for personal sessions, that information is down below for you. Thank you so much. I wish you best of luck. And I will see you soon. Take care.